G'day, I'm Ash and welcome to War Thunder, and well, I wasn't necessarily expecting to make a video on the World War topic as a whole, but me and a bunch of the squadron members got together and we decided that we'd check it out, and well, at first impressions are not exactly ideal. Initial thoughts, well, extremely exciting. You know what, I was incredibly amazed at how many people were trying to actively take part. However, it didn't come with any sort of hope or, I don't know, excitement, I guess, because that all faded away right from the get-go, as this was full of bugs and serious issues. Now, apparently, according to one of the developers, this took 5 years to develop, so keep that in mind when we talk about some of the issues here. Now, what do you mean, what is wrong? It should be this amazing event that is fantastic. Well, yes, but actually no. The first thing that is noted is that one side is better than the other. In World War II Chronicles, this would be corrected in 1 to 2 hours. However, this doesn't look like, as of yet, that they are going to be fixing lineups or even some of the other issues within the 12 hours that each battle is up before it's refreshed and restarted. Another major thing is the UI on a strategic level is confusing and not clear. This can be corrected, but it leaves a particularly bad impression, and I did not expect the menus and operations to be so confusing even after watching their own tutorial videos on the subject. It still wasn't clear after watching those as well. And there were bugs. Oh boy, was there bugs. Now, let's talk about time involvement, because I played this game mode for 3.5 hours. And, well, it seems to be, on first impressions, it rewards international squads for playing across the globe. It's a game mode that requires constant attention, with a commander or deputy constantly on the battle menu to keep track of the battles. But you can't do that with the problem of, well, the vehicle selection. It's not equal. With the convoy mode, the Germans got Stukas and terrible bombers to take out KV-1s and T-34s. Now, whilst this is possible with smaller bomb loads, it is incredibly hard to get what you need to onto target correctly. Whereas Russia gets IL-2s, SB-2Ms and Su-2s, all cannon-armed aircraft, and the bombers have generally bigger payloads than the Germans. This includes the fact that many weapon loadouts are quite weak compared to the enemy that you are fighting, so the Germans were underhanded here in every aspect. Now, it's a poor operation choice, definitely. At which point they're trying to create, if they're trying to create a genuine symmetrical battle, they've basically failed. There is no chance at all for the Germans to win beyond sending bombers to every battle, as they're the only things that can deal with their heavier tanks that the Russian divisions can bring. Most of the times the Germans have to get lucky, or have to have high quality German players versus low quality Russian players in order to have an effective field against KV-1s or T-34s. Now, fog of war should really be a thing, and the commanders from both sides can view the enemy's forces, their compositions, and the reinforcements that are coming from very far away. There is no fog of war at all, and it allows the already strong Russians to pile their forces to locations they already know 100% where a battle is coming, and frontline units should only be able to see frontline units, so build-ups are a lot harder to spot until it's too late. This will allow an attacking force to have fighting chance and the defenders to respond to an initial threat. Another thing is fog of war. Well, the commanders from both sides can view the enemy forces, their compositions, and the reinforcements that are coming from very far away. There is no fog of war at all, and it allows the already strong Russians to pile their forces to locations they already know 100% where a battle is coming. Frontline units should only be able to see frontline units, so build-ups are a lot harder to spot until it's too late, to allow an attacking force to have a fighting chance, and defenders to also respond to that. That is a critical function right there. Also, the game mode as a whole is a mix between arcade and realistic game modes, and operations should be only arcade or realistic, not this mix in between, as well it can be very confusing and lead to stuff like lead markers and players being spotted on the map without the use of light tanks. And, well, these markers actually make it so that German players can't get on the flanks of Russian vehicles. And, well, the arcade mode markers make players always visible, therefore there is nowhere to hide from these big, mean Russian tanks. Let's talk about strategy and control. it is hard to get information about the ongoing operation whilst you are in the middle of combat. It's not per se a bad point, but requires a lot more coordination and having a few players staying out of the battles so that multiple battles can take place, so they can keep players in the battle informed of the goings on in the operation. And it's something that I'd like to see amended, maybe a commando view only. Now, random players in the battle is the next point I want to hit on. I touched on this earlier. It lets anyone from any players play in a battle. So if one side gets stacked and you only have limited vehicles, one side is at a complete disadvantage. I know this is to allow non-squadron players to take part in the battle, but randoms are a large disadvantage when they take vehicles your squadron want to be in or using, or you trust your squadron members to actually fly and get kills like JO87 to the KV-1s. Random players can just take it all if there's, you know, even if it's over the squadron members who are participating in the battle itself. Now, my final point here, the server selection. Whoever starts the battle from either squadron is the server region that is selected, which means that if you're an Australian squadron versus a European squadron, because you can't choose a US-specific squadrons, when they start battles against you, you're forced to fight on a 350 ping plus match, which already makes it unbalanced to a point where, well, the game is already unbalanced, right? So, the time period and vehicle selection, even more of a struggle because you can't hit any of them or it doesn't penetrate. There are so many wrong things with this event, and it's just an absolute shit show. You'll get maps where you spawn in, and if you particularly pick a battle which is already ongoing, say you just missed the start of the match, well, those enemies are now waltzing into your spawn, killing you on sight, which is a bit of an issue. The AIs are also in far and fair between. There's a bunch of issues in that regard too. AIs just don't feel... there is no real need to have them. I mean, they are a critical component, but there is certainly a lot that can be done to make the game mode more engaging. It just feels like a push to put you out in more battles and more battles. And the reward isn't necessarily that good either. It feels like I'm playing a small match, you know, a regular arcade match where you get 1 or 2 kills. You know, nothing too much, and that's really it. It's kind of disappointing when, you know, you're supposed to be winning battles all the time on a front line that is ever changing and evolving. Anyway, let's not forget that the rewards is basically like being in a tournament. Example for the E100, where you had a limited amount of battles and a limiting time set and a limiting amount of players to get a special reward vehicle. There's no other way of getting these vehicles aside from, well, you know, buying it through the marketplace. But there is no option for people who work, study, or for people who, well, I guess, actually have a life. This game mode requires constant attention, and it's full of bugs, it's full of issues, and, well, Germany as a whole, I guess, suffers in this regard. I guarantee you that battles in the future will be more one-sided as it goes. Now, this could be historical, this could not be, but it's clear that anyone playing as the Germans right now in World War mode are at a clear disadvantage. And it just goes to show that despite the 5 years of effort that Garshin have said they have put into this game mode, it's quite clear that that could not actually be the case. I was really hoping for something that would be a lot better. I was hoping that there would be some sort of enthrallment, excitement, and just a willingness and even equalness on the battlefield. However, it appears from the outset that that was really not the case. And there's waiting times and queue times, and it was a lot of sitting in front of a menu just watching things and waiting for an actual battle to start. And when those battles started, well, they didn't last very long. It wasn't very meaningful. It didn't feel like you were an actual player on a meaningful battlefield because you couldn't keep track of the overall scope of things, even as a commander, let alone play the game. And, well, it's unfortunate. 5 years of development have gone into this. Let that sink in. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me rant and rave. Thank you to Bard for helping me with the notes on this particular video. My name's Ash, and I'll catch you in the next one.